Well, joining me now to discuss more on this latest development is energy consultant Sheson Okwade. Good to have you join us on the breakfast show this morning. Now, Sheson, what do you make of the suspension of the increase in electricity tariffs till a further date later on in the year?
Thank you very much, David. It's something that it's highly needed considering the fact of what we are facing, the COVID-19 and the lockdown that the people are actually experiencing. We know that the NEC and the distribution company carried out some stakeholders meeting at the beginning of this year to effect the MITO tariff, which has actually not been effected since
15.
2018. But because of the COVID-19 and the lockdown that everybody is expecting, we are experiencing currently, we felt, and when we saw the news yesterday that they are going to effect the tariff, we felt it's actually a wrong timing, and it's good that as of this morning, NEC has actually suspended it to the end of the year. It's something that is actually biting on the disco, but because of what we are experiencing now, we feel it's high time that they should put it on hold temporarily till we have a relief from the government to execute that.
Thank you very much for your contribution on the show this morning, Sheson Okwade, energy consultant. Well, joining me now to discuss more on this development is energy consultant Okwade. Sheson, good to have you join us on the show, Sheson. Now, talk about this downward adjustment and efforts towards price modulation. It's a step in the right direction, some would say.
Yeah, thank you, David. It's a step in the right direction. We were all aware of the message from the Minister of State last month when the price was reviewed from 145 to 125. And they actually came up and said that as they monitor the price of the crude oil in the global market, we're going to consider that too in our own pricing of PMX in the nation. And this morning, it was reviewed downward to 123 naira 50 cover. But the challenge still lies that we are not responding to it, considering that the price of crude oil has actually dropped from 50-something dollars per barrel to about 18 as of this morning. And the fact remains that we expect that drastically the cost of petroleum, if we have allowed the forces of demand and supply, which we have been yearning for through the price modulation, I think by now we should just be buying fuel at around 60, 70 naira per liter. But because the fact remains that majority of our refineries are not functional to capacity, we have to rely on the importation of this fuel. It has stagnated the price. The difference between 125 and 123.50 cover is really not it's not commensurate to the drop in the increase in the decrease of the crude oil price. We want to just encourage that the government looks for a way to implement the full implementation of the price modulation, allowing the forces of demand and supply to play its role in this major sector so that the masses can actually benefit from it.
Exactly. And so now another issue that is of concern is compliance. Because at this point in time where we are seeing reviews and adjustments here and there, whether upwards or downwards, compliance is a major issue. Now, on the part of the DPR, what's your charge to them as well to effect and ensure that we have proper compliance across board, talking about all of the filling stations and the price they are selling for, and any individual involved in sharp practices must be penalized. And on the second hand, we also have to talk about sensitization of the general public. A review was made yesterday night. Today is a fresh day. Some people will still go out and buy fuel at 125 naira without knowing the adjustment. So what's your take on sensitization and compliance efforts?
Yeah, part of what we have to do about sensitization is what we're doing. The media houses has actually circulated this, but we all know the reaction of some of these marketers. They don't respond on time. The last time that it was reduced from 145 to 125, it took them averagely like a week, requesting that they have to get their programmer to reduce some of these things. You know, everybody wants to catch up with the little decrease in aid. We'll just encourage that the DPR should move out I learned during the last one that there are some filling stations that try to play smart by actually reducing the price but not adjusting the dispensation, the dispensing of the fuel. And we saw some of those filling stations locked up. So it's a call for the DPR to come out and enforce the implementation for the masses to enjoy the benefit. Because as we speak, the hardship tells everybody, and we cannot afford at any point in time not to enjoy the benefit of what the government is availing to us. So I think it's a call for the DPR to mobilize its people in all states and ensure compliance maximally within 24 hours. Even if we can't do that today, by tomorrow we should get that done. And effectively, if such thing is going to happen, there should be a circular possibly to all the filling stations, all the marketers, so that as we are waking up, as they are now saying, under 12 hours, some of these things can be enjoyed and the people can benefit from it.
There, Chasson Okwade. Now, well, joining me now on the show to discuss much more on this latest development is energy consultant Chasson Okwade. Good to have you join us on the breakfast show this morning. Now, Chasson, talking about compliance now and sensitization, the task ahead is quite Herculean because we have to meet up with this price modulation and a whole lot more. And on the part of consumers as well, complying to the new price and also reporting sharp practices. We can never have enough of that done. Your take on all of these?
Yeah, thank you, David, for having me. I think with the restriction of movement by the government, it's an advantage for the DPR to carry out the implementation of the reduction in price as stipulated this morning to 123.5 naira. I think the DPR can move out because all the filling stations are asked to actually comply to make sure that they dispense fuel to people. And like you know, the power sector is really not giving supply as expected. Some people will be out to buy fuel to power their generator. So we feel it won't be a deep constraint for the DPR to move around today to make sure that the compliance is out. And on the issue of awareness, I think the social media, just the way we have the COVID spreading around, I think they can put up a position paper, circulate it around and let people share that. Rather than sharing fears and panic as related to COVID, we can share that, okay, the government has reduced the fuel from 125 to 123, and the people can be encouraged when you get to any filling station and they are not complying. All you got to do is to just look at the number of meters is bought, put the normal calculation to it, and make that payment to it because everyone is expected to comply to this to ease the tension that is in hand.
So I'd also like to have your thoughts before I let you go, talking about the controversy around fuel subsidy. Now, the landing cost of petrol is also another issue so far. The NNPC in the last couple of years has been the sole importer of petrol. Now with these prices, do you still think we would have a competitive playing field to still have the major oil marketers and the independent oil marketers still bringing the products in? Any resumption in your forecast?
Yeah, no. We are not going to have a very competitive price, considering the fact that the dollar rate is actually dwindling, and that plays a major role in the importation of this fuel subsidy of a thing. That is why we have the NNPC being the major stake in bringing in this fuel. What we want to encourage the federal government to do is, as we have given a response to this, can we look inward into the oil sector and see how to bring up our refineries? This is very key. How can you have a raw materials and you are lending it out, bringing it back for end product? It doesn't really make good sense of it. But if you are able to have like we heard of Dangote bringing up a refinery, which you expect to come up soon. If we are able to process it there, I can assure you, like we have the most target of the cost of crude oil this day, definitely as we speak, I'm sure the cost of PMS will not exceed more than 50 or 60 naira, which will be an advantage to us. But because we still export this and foreign exchange plays a major role, it's going to be difficult for us to avert what we call the fuel subsidy. I want to encourage the federal government to do all they can to make sure at least before they leave, have good function and not repairing the old refineries that are not giving us the expected dividend, but get refinery that is state of the art to get this done for us.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution so far on the show today, Shason Okwante.